Today, we're going to do the top 5 ways that Aldelo Express can actually increase sales. We've talked in the past about how the solution can help cut costs or make savings or add profit. Today, we're going to talk about how Aldelo Express can actually add to the top line revenue of the restaurant. This is a different way of looking at it, but it will make more sense as we go through as to how exactly we're going to do that. So, value of a good POS system. It will control the 3 Ps, and that is people, payments, and product. So any good POS system should be able to solve these problems, or at least provide controls there. The people aspect would be the time clock, time attendance, security aspects. Payments, that's pretty obvious. Products, that's through not only the inventory aspects of it, but through the theft aspects as well. So there's different ways, but all of these things are controlled by a really quality, good POS solution. In the end, what we're trying to do is increase sales and increase profits at the same time. There's always 2 ends to how to make a profit. You can increase your sales, which is what we're going to talk about today, and you can also cut costs. But there's just there's a limit to how many cost you can cut. At some point, you cannot cut anymore. At some point, you have reached the floor limit of what you are able to do with regard to cuts. So at that time, you need to increase sales, increase that top line revenue in order to make a profit. But overall, we're trying to create a solid return on investment using soft and hard savings. In this case, we're going to be looking at increasing sales. And how do you do that? Well, there's on the surface, when you first look at it, we've got 3 we're going to talk about. How a good POS system always stops theft. That's why cash registers were invented in the 1800s, was to stop theft. And that really hasn't changed over the years. The thieves have gotten more complicated and creative, and therefore that's caused the POS systems to do the same. We're now more creative in how we stop those. But nonetheless, stopping theft is an integral part of what a POS system should do. We're also going to look at proper pricing. Now, this is not only with regard to people who are still doing handwritten tickets. I still see these out in the field. It amazes me how they're getting away with it, but they are still doing it. And this opens up a lot of issues with regard to theft, as well as mistakes being made. But proper pricing can also be enforcing happy hour, making sure that there's no slough over the hour. When it's happy hour ends, the pricing needs to go back to where it was. So that's another aspect of proper pricing, to make sure that you get the right prices that are being sold at the right time. And then there's the preset aspect of making sure that every item is on the menu, that is then on the point of sale, that there's no open price items. That open price is just you're asking for problems, asking for theft. And then we're going to get into how we can make sure the prices are correct as far as the order types. But then the biggest one, without doubt, is Masa. Masa Plus brings 3 aspects to the table. It can bring online ordering, gift, and loyalty. And that is then going to be the 5 ways that we increase sales. Now, you may have other ways you have thought of, and when we get to the end, please, by all means, add to this discussion so you can bring out how you do it. Theft, it's huge. It's not something that's easily talked about to a restaurant. It's not easily brought up as a subject. You don't want to sit there and call their employees a bunch of thieves, but statistics show 75% of employees admit to stealing at least once from an employer. Then that theft could be product, that theft could be money, could be other valuables that are at the store or restaurant. But 75% of people admit to stealing at least once. Theft in the United States is a $50 billion a year problem. That's huge. And 75% of businesses are affected by employee theft. When you think about it, about the only ones that might not be affected would be someone who's a one-person company or a web-based company that doesn't have any employees. But 75% of the people are going to, or businesses are going to suffer from employee theft. And then the big number is 5% of annual sales are lost to employee theft. That's huge. And to the point where there's another statistic that I did not list here, that a third of business bankruptcies are caused by employee theft. It's that big of a problem. In a $500,000 business, 5% is $25,000 that's gone, just absolutely out of, it's not there anymore. It's gone. Not only is it the product can be stolen, it can be theft of a case of food. It could be individual burgers, but the real big theft is going to be when they start stealing cases of steak, cases of chicken, cases of product. That's where the big theft comes in. Then there's a thing called cashier stacking. Now I've done a video on this that you can find on the Aldelo University that explains what cashier stacking is and how big it can get. But in essence, it's when the cashier works with the drawer open, knows that how much a sale is going to be. If it's a number one combo meal, they're going to know that that is $9.95 with tax. The person hands them a 10, they give them a nickel back, they don't ring it up. But then they take a dime and they put it on the cash register on the little tray to have a mental note that they need to take $10 out at the end of the shift so that they balance properly. It's called cashier stacking. People use different variations of this. A lot of times a bartender will use those matchbooks, and just tear a match out for every $10 they have to take out. I've seen people use paper clips or things that are just normal, what you think normal items are around the cash register. But a clear sign that you have a problem with cashier stacking is somebody's got coins for pennies for $1, nickel for $5, dime for 10, a quarter for 25. You get the point. Also, an indication of cashier stacking is when somebody has a calculator around the register. It's hard now to see that because you've got these phones now with calculators on, but that's another indication. Then there's coupon stuffing. Anytime a restaurant produces coupons that are that are not digital, coupons that are paper, that are printed, whether it's in a newspaper or a handout or whatever, how they're printing those coupons, cashier will take those coupons and actually stuff them in the drawer and take out the dollar equivalent in cash. And if the restaurant's not balancing coupons like they should cash, they should balance coupons like cash. If they're not, then they're opening themselves up for the theft and the coupon stuffing. Server prepared beverages are, it's required beverage is another term for that. That's a big theft items. I got hit with that already this week in dining out. I've seen that already. So it is a problem. You have to be aware of it. And we have a simple solution to it. It's just a matter of implementation. And then bartenders bringing their own liquor bottles. And you go, huh, what? The bartender will bring his own bottle of Jack Daniels. And every time somebody asks for Jack and Coke, he's going to pour that drink out of his bottle, collect the money, and not put it in the register. And what he's doing is getting around the inventory of the restaurant. The restaurant's going to say, well, I'm not short on my Jack, on my bottle. The bartender's got his bottle there. He's pouring out of it. So sure, the inventory is not going to be short, but he's making the money on that. That's how bartenders still bring in their own bottles. And what I've seen with that, I had a restaurant that was trying to understand why he had somebody showing a $5 sale, but a $60 tip. He couldn't figure out what the deal was. And it's exactly what was happening is the bartender sold one beer but poured the rest of the night out of his own bottle. And then at the end of the night, the guy who's paying for it paid the bartender like $60 for the liquor he drank, and that went in as a tip. So there's ways they get caught, but that was one where they used a credit card that made it easier to get caught. Most of the time, they're going to do that with cash. With regard to proper pricing, there's always the friends and family discount. That is where the server, the banker, or the server, or the cashier will create their own price for the item, or even not even charge for it. That's the friends and family discounts, where proper pricing comes into play to make sure that the restaurant's getting paid for what they serve. And that leads into kitchen printers and KDS. I did an install a few years ago where the restaurant went from handwritten tickets, where they would write the order on a ticket and post it and spin it around on the wheel for the kitchen to prepare. The owner thought he was under control because he was the cook. He was the head of the kitchen. So nothing that he knew of got served unless it was on a ticket. Well, the problem was that not everything got rang up. The first night we had a POS system in there, all of a sudden he did another $1,000 he had not known about. He just like, something's not right. We don't normally do that much on a Tuesday night. And we started looking at it, and all of a sudden it was the appetizers. His servers were putting up on the ticket as an app, but they weren't in the past charging for it. With the new POS system, they put the order into the system, which then causes the printer or the KDS to display the order or print. Nothing got out of the kitchen unless it had the ticket actually printed by the register, which had meant it was actually rung up. So in that case, kitchen printers and the KDS actually do help increase sales by making sure that nothing is in the kitchen being prepared unless it's on a printed ticket from the POS system. This also, when you do proper pricing and preset, means you don't have to audit the guest checks. In years past, when they're doing handwritten guest checks, they would actually have to take time, or someone would take time to go through those guest checks and use a calculator to re-audit those or add them up to make sure that they were rung up properly. A lot of them aren't. A lot of them were found to have mistakes. And if they would like to narrow that down to which server did it and make that correction. The only sure way to make that happen, though, is to put a POS system with presets. And then there's the advanced pricing module we have that can help increase sales by making sure that scheduled pricing is correct. That happy hour starts exactly on time and ends exactly on time. That there's no wiggle room outside on the edges there. The cashiers and servers can't start it early. They can't let it run late. So schedule pricing on those happy hours is going to make sure that the price is correct. And then there's this prices by order type. Aldelo Express has the ability to have 5 order types, and it means you can have 5 different price levels based on those order types. So if you wanted to, you could charge one price for dine-in, another price for takeout because of the extra packaging and labor it takes to put that in, and then another price for delivery so that you could actually pay the drivers. So there's different price levels based on order type, and that is automated with our advanced pricing module. Then you move into Masa Online. It's a browser and app-based online ordering system. So we recently released our app in the App Store and on the Google Play Store. It does have a web page address. We get that question a lot. So not only is it an app, but there's a URL that's generated by the back office that then can be linked on their regular website to be their online store, so they can order for online for delivery, curbside, takeout, or even dine in. All it takes is a QR code to get started, and that they can scan that with their phone, and they're instantly taken to the browser where they can order from that, and they'll be encouraged to download the app as well. And there is an absolute direct interface to the point of sale. Nothing extra is needed. and you can pay online, at the store, or at the door. As far as what it increases, estimates are wild. They vary greatly. It's depending on what source you're looking at. But at a minimum, you're looking at it could be a 10% increase in sales, as much as doubling sales. So what I read and studied and learned is it can be a wild variance there. But let's just think about this, and as we go through, know that they will increase. Whatever amount it is, they're going to increase their sales with online ordering. But there's a cost if you don't use Masa. If you're using somebody else's program, that's upwards of $100 a month. Is what it's going to cost that restaurant to do online sales. With the Masa app, it's a checkbox. We turn it on and it's there. It's instant. Every update you do to the point of sale front end, it also can update the Masa online app. Now, you do have choices to what items go in there, but nonetheless, it can be instantly updated. Then there's this third-party delivery companies. They're even more outrageous. They have charges for pay-per-click placement. You don't just put your store on these third-party apps. If you want to move up to the top of the page to be one of the first ones seen, you have to pay that. The restaurant has to pay to be placed there. And it's a pay-to-play game. You don't pay, you're not going to be at the top. Somebody else is going to take that top spot, and they're the ones that are going to get the lion's share of the business. And what business you do get is they're going to hit you for 30% of your sales. But if you're throwing a 60% margin, there's a 40% food cost, and that means a 60% profit. They're going to take half the profit from you just for the fact that they're going to be delivering the food. That's a pretty stiff price to pay for these third-party delivery companies. These restaurateurs are begging for an alternative, and Masa might just be that. If they can build that brand of their store using the online app, they'll be much better off because it doesn't cost them anything. So Masa online ordering is included with Aldelo Express. It is just a simple check mark to turn it on. You can select the items that you wish to be on the delivery. They don't have to be all of them. They can be selected as to which ones they want to do that. And then they can have their own price level for those orders. They can charge a bit more for those. And then there's also coupons that are Masa only, that are online order only coupons to kind of help drive that business. Then the delivery module also assists, and it can control the drivers. So this is where the Masa now can be the online ordering store. It can be pizza using our pizza module, and then delivery module to help control the drivers. It's a complete loop, complete system. It's closed when using these packages together. Then there's Masa Loyalty. It is a multiple store program, meaning that all the stores in this group can then be linked together and share the data, so that the points and earnings at one store can be redeemed at another one, because they do share the data. Statistics and surveys show that 75% of customers will change their buying habits based upon a loyalty program. So they will literally stop going to one restaurant and come to the one that does have the loyalty program. So in this case, if they don't have a loyalty program at that restaurant, then they stand a chance that business is going to go someplace else that does. And the reverse of that, if they create their own loyalty program using the Masa customer loyalty, they're very likely to pull people away from another restaurant and therefore increase their sales. And how much? Well, surveys have said that loyalty programs can increase sales 15 to 25%. And that's a huge number. But how could that be? Well, at $500,000 in sales, that's $75,000 just on the low end at the 15%. And that number sounds too good to be true. Let's work that down to the minimum here. Let's see what it actually works out to be. Average ticket of $50. That's basically what it is for my wife and I to go out to a decent table service restaurant. It's going to be about a $50 ticket. Well, that averages out to be 28 return customers per week. So that is, we're not saying these are going to be customers that are one and done. These are people that are not only coming once, but they're going to come again more often. 28 return customers per week, or 4 per day. When you break it down like that, 4 per day is a real achievable number. You start doing hundreds of loyalty customers, and that number is easily done to have 4 of those come back in a one day time frame. That also, that $500,000 at a 40% food cost creates $45,000 in additional profit. So when your customer or your merchant you're talking to is saying, yeah, but loyalty program is going to cost me, and it's going to cost in free food, it's going to cost in some kind of redemption bonus or reward. Well, yeah, well, $45,000 will buy a lot of appetizers. So it easily pays for a loyalty program and then more. All right, next up is Masa Gift. It too is a multiple store program, and it too has the ability to track purchases at one store and redemption at another, but it goes a little bit further, and it actually creates the report that will then balance those funds between stores. Because if one store takes the cash and another store redeems it for the product, then those two things have to balance. They have to pull the cash from one store and deposit it into the other. So there's a report that comes up that allows for those ACH funds to be transferred between stores. It can be plastic cards and digital. It's not one or the other, it's both. And yes, you can import a competitor's database. This is probably the #1 question we get about gift cards or the gift program. Yes, it can be both plastic and digital, and yes, you can import the competitor's database. You know, our tech support team will talk you through and walk you through what is needed in the download from the other competitor in order to bring it into our system. And then QR codes, stickers, that they are what go over the old card. The cards that are in the field will eventually work their way back to the store. And when they do, you have a roll of stickers that you take and you put that QR code onto that old card, where you don't have to issue a totally new card. They can if they want to, they don't have to. It can just transfer over to the new QR code. Gift cards guarantee sales. That's a known fact. And it does it through new customers and repeat customers. So you're going to have, like me, if I wanted to buy a gift card, I'm going to buy a gift card to a restaurant that I like, first off, and I'm going to give it to somebody who might not have ever been to that restaurant. And that's then going to create the new customer. If I give it to someone who already goes to that restaurant, well, that's going to create a repeat customer coming back to the restaurant. So in both those cases, you're going to increase sales with gift cards. And then there's the big one, and that's overspending. Almost everyone who gets a gift card spends more than the gift card is worth. That's overspending. And sometimes it gets outrageously more. Just because that card may be for 25, they're going to spend more than that with you. They're going to get the full value of the card plus some. So overspending is a huge aspect of increasing sales with gifts, with a gift program. Gift cards have grown to be a very popular holiday item, in that over 70% of people like getting gift cards. And then on the other end of that, nearly 60% of people say they are going to buy gift cards as gifts. So any restaurant who's not playing in the gift card market is losing out every way you can think of. They're losing out in new sales, new customers, overspending. They're losing out on every aspect of that program. So let's look at ways to increase gift card sales. This is for somebody who already has a gift card program. Let's look at how you can increase that. You can do that with in-store promotions. I've seen a lot of times people will buy a $50 gift card for $40, something like that, where they have a discount for buying the card, but it's a full price card. Another one I thought was really inventive were bundle packages, where if you have an average ticket of $50 in a restaurant, then have a dinner for two, and let it be a $40 gift card for $30 purchase, knowing that they're going to spend over the $40. Did you follow the math there? I hope you did. So if you have a dinner for two, make it a $40 gift card that then they could buy for a reduced price, but yet knowing you're going to get more than that when they redeem it. Another one is another good way to do it is a family dining package. Make that gift card value of 100 and sell it for 80 and make that a package deal. There's ways to get creative with your marketing in bundling gift cards at the higher prices. And a really, really popular way, a really good way of increasing gift card sales is through online ordering of gift cards. And you can do that with the Masa program. You can buy a gift card using Masa and gift it to somebody else via text from the app. So you're going to buy it, you're going to pay for it on the app, and then you're going to text that to your person that's receiving that gift, and it will come across as a text gift to them. So let's look at some ideas here, some numbers. So new and repeat customers. If you have 10 gift cards that are sold for 25, you know already that's going to be a $250 in guaranteed sales. But there's more. There's the possibility of repeat visits. So if you have earned that per customer's business, that new customer, and you then maybe through the loyalty program, you bring them back once more every 12 months, that equals $3,000 in increased sales. But there's going to be more than that because you already know they're going to be overspending. So that $25 gift card only helps the diner reach your average ticket of $50. So now 10 gift cards now does not equal 3,000, it equals 6,000. So for every 10 cards that are sold, they receive another $6,000 in increased revenue. You sell 100 cards, you're going to get $60,000 in increased revenues. That's how gift cards increase sales in a restaurant. So wrapping it up, 5 ways to increase sales. First off, let the register and the system do what it's supposed to do, stop theft. Make sure that the pricing is correct, that the happy hours start and end on time, that the different order types have their different prices. Make sure they're using online ordering for curbside and delivery, multiple store loyalty, and multiple store gift. You do all those things for that restaurant, and not only now are their sales going to increase, their revenues are going to increase, their profits are going to increase. You implement what we talked about last week about the savings and how we are having such an effect on the bottom line with soft and hard savings. You combine these things together, you're going to be the winner in this situation every time. All right, what questions do you guys have?